GPT-4 is here. The general media is freaking out, but the experts are disappointed by what was shown. It was confirmed that Bing runs on GPT-4, and therefore the Bing chat is better than ChatGPT. What makes GPT-4 different from ChatGPT and GPT-3 before is that GPT-4 is multimodal model. That means it accepts images and text inputs, and it emits text outputs. They're claiming that it exhibits human-level performance on various professional and academic benchmarks. For example, it can pass a bar exam and a bunch of different AP exams. To illustrate the improvement of GPT-4 compared to GPT 3.5, which ChatGPT was based on, the GPT-4 is in the top 10% of test takers on the bar exam, and the GPT 3.5 was in the bottom 10% of the test takers. So it went from the bottom 10% to the top 10%. That's a huge improvement over the last 6 months. Here they mentioned that in casual conversation, you won't see much difference between GPT 3.5, which ChatGPT was based on, and GPT-4. It should be a lot more stable and a lot more precise. It shouldn't make as many mistakes as GPT 3.5, which is gonna make it a lot more valuable for critical tasks. Here are the results from the benchmarks in the chart. So on the bottom, we have all the different benchmarks. There's lots of different exams like GREs and AP exams. So GRE are exams that you have to take if you want to go to grad school in the United States. LSAT is an exam that you have to take to go to law school. AP exams are exams that you can take in a late stage of your high school to skip some classes in college. And SAT is a really important exam if you want to go to college in the United States. The blue bars is the performance of GPT 3.5. The light green bars is the performance of GPT-4 without the vision component. And the dark green bars are performance of GPT with the vision component. For some of the benchmarks, the improvement has been absolutely drastic. So here's the uniform bar exam. It was in the bottom 10%. Now it's in the top 10%. Even for GRE verbal, which is a really tough test to get into grad school in the United States, it went from already a great score of 60 percentile, so better than 60% of test takers, almost to perfect test taker. But here is where we see the huge advancement over ChatGPT. ChatGPT could only use text, but GPT-4 is multimodal, so now we can input even images. So here an example, we can ask what is funny about this image, and this is kind of like a gag GIF. This is a lightning cable, but that looks like a VGA connector, and you can ask the model to describe it panel by panel. So if you scroll down, it does exactly that. It shows it's a lightning cable, but it's a smartphone with a VGA connector, so it's kind of like a funny little gift. So this really almost shows like intelligence, in my opinion. Let me know if you disagree below. Here's a cool, very simple example. So here we have a taxi in New York City. There's a guy ironing a shirt behind the taxi. That's kind of weird. And it asks, what is unusual about this image? And it said, GPT-4 correctly says, the unusual thing about this image is the man is ironing clothes on an ironing board attached to the roof of a moving taxi. So it can kind of pick up oddities that you would encounter in normal life. Example like this one is something that really scares teachers and professors. Here we have the Instruct GPT paper, the first 3 pages. There's lots of text in here and 2 figures. And what the user asks is, below is the part of the Instruct GPT paper. Could you please summarize it for me? And what is pretty incredible that it's able to do this automatically. So here we see the power of the multimodal GPT-4 compared to just GPT 3.5. Because GPT 3.5, you could copy and paste this text into it, but you won't be able to process the figures. So now you can just look up papers and you can have really nice summaries automatically made for you. So this is extremely powerful. Hopefully this will help researchers in the early stages of career, but this is something that could be an assignment in school, and a lot of people can use GPT-4 to do their assignments for them. Overall, this is quite impressive, and if it works well, it will be very useful for a lot of people. Here they highlight that the GPT-4 model still has limitations, and it is not fully reliable. Sometimes it hallucinates. In common speak, it makes stuff up, but it is significantly better than the GPT 3.5. So here there is a chart that shows the improvement of accuracy of GPT-4. So here in blue we have ChatGPT version 2, 3, and 4, and in green we have GPT-4, and you can see that accuracy increased over all of these metrics. So that's great news, because that's something that ChatGPT got a lot of bad press for, that it makes stuff up, and people were highlighting the examples where it messed up. But one thing I would like to highlight is that people make stuff up also, and they're also incorrect lots of times. So to expect that the model will be 100% accurate all the time, that would be much better performance than humans. Another thing that OpenAI got a lot of bad press with the ChatGPT is that it would respond to what they call bad or improper prompts. that behavior also has been greatly diminished. So here we have sensitive prompts. You can see it went down quite a bit. For disallowed prompts, that would be something that would be dangerous for humans. Then you can see it's a very low response rate to that one. A huge bummer for now is the access to GPT-4. So here they have a ChatGPT Plus, which is the paid access to ChatGPT. So they say that the paid subscribers will get access to GPT-4, but it will be, even for paid customers, will be with the usage cap. And they said depending on the demand, that the capacity will be constrained, and they might even introduce a higher subscription tier for high volume users. So if you want to use GPT-4 a lot, you might have to pay even more. And they say in the future they're hoping to make it free, but we'll see how long it takes. So this could be a pretty big cash cow, but I think if people have to pay for it, I don't think people are going to use the GPT-4 all that much. I think a lot of people are still using ChatGPT just to play around with it and to see what the AI can do. Not that many people are actually using it to produce value that would be something that would pay for. So as of right now, if you want to use GPT-4 for free, you can use the Bing chat function. As soon as OpenAI introduced the ChatGPT, New York Times dropped an article about it. So I guess they got an early access for the model. So let's see what they had to say about it. Based on this article, it was an improvement, but it still makes stuff up. I think here's a good summary, and they say, and though it is an awfully good test taker, as it was shown by the different benchmarks, the system from the San Francisco star OpenAI is not on the verge of matching human intelligence. Here they asked the same question of GPT 3.5, GPT-4, and it improved its accuracy when it's pulling information from the web. Here it said incorrectly that these two people are brothers, and here GPT-4 incorrectly identified them as father and son. So it's more accurate when it's pulling new data from the internet. Here's a nice example of the multimodality. They ask to describe what's in this image in the fridge, and it goes into nice detail and lists all the different things in the fridge. This is what I think is the biggest advancement compared to ChatGPT, that you can use images and it's multimodal. It would be also great if you could use audio and also video, but that's might be coming in future models. If you're an AI researcher, you might get also really excited that they published a technical report or a paper about this. It's 98 pages, so it must contain a lot of wonderful information. But then you scroll through it and it doesn't really say much. It shows you all the different benchmarks they achieved, just like in the blog post, but it does not give you the parameter count. So GPT-3 was 175 billion parameters, but they don't say how many parameters are in GPT-4. So that's a huge disappointment for the machine learning community. I think a lot of people are really curious what it's going to be. Yeah, this is just benchmarks, results. So it's pretty much the same stuff, the same examples, same graphs as on the blog post. So a lot of people are very disappointed by this, and you can see it on Twitter. Here, Yannick Kilcher said, GPT-4 paper literally is just saying, we train a model on data and it's better, spread over 98 pages. What's hilarious, then the paper itself, they said, GPT-4 was used to help with wording, formatting, and styling throughout this work. So essentially they're saying that the GPT-4 was used to write the paper on GPT-4 to some extent. I guess if it works, I don't really care. If the paper was great, I don't really care if GPT-4 wrote the whole thing. As long as it has all the relevant information that the open source community can use to build their models.